Why, good morning, you beautiful souls. Welcome to another Satsang. I hope that you're having a great day thus far, and we're going to really just amp up our human experience today, and that's by dissolving fear. Now, I don't mean the kind of fight or flight or freeze fear, like there's an animal or there's an immediate physical threat. We're talking about all of these fears that are the tensions, the energetic, I guess you would say, pressures that hold us back from really living out our pureness, speaking our truth, acting in our truth, and really being the fullness of our divine self. So go ahead and get your last few wiggles out, get your last few shakes. And the most important part here is to remember that everything that we fear is but a sign of our beingness or even our ego that is pointing us towards these opportunities to transcend what we assume, what we previously know. So today, I lovingly invite you into the space of the heart to let go of all assumptions, to drop away any expectation, any type of judgment, and just allow whatever arises within your window of awareness to present itself. So if you can, before we get started, smash that like, get your last few wiggles out, and we'll get started here. When you hear the first 3 taps of the singing bowl, shift your attention to the sound of the bowl as it fades. With each inhale, when you hear that ringing, draw in that loving deep breath. Transform that exhale into a powerful and mighty Om. Be sure to open the mouth and relax the jaw. As you close your mouth, the U and the M will form naturally. Simply focus on the sound, the vibration, that beautiful chord of your own creation. Pay attention to nothing else. It's here we begin this process of letting go, of sitting back within the movie theater of the mind, to simply observe the happenings of the inner and the outer environments, indiscriminately, detached, and silent. It's here with a smile on our face, we lovingly and eagerly explore this inner looking, our own beingness, reminding ourselves that we simply sit and rest as whatever needs to present itself before our window of awareness arises effortlessly, seamlessly, fluidly, as we watch as if we're observing a show in a film, taking notes, watching as if we're observing an animal in the safari at a distance. With that separation, knowing that these thoughts, emotions, and sensations that may arise in this exploration are but happenings observed. And with this final tap of the singing bowl, shift your attention fully to the sound of the ringing. Allow it to fade into silence. It's here we fall in love with this practice. For it's that excitement, it's that enjoyment, it's that deep satisfaction and yearning that allows us to confront these deepest rooted tensions head on. For what is fear? But holding on to something of the past or the imagination's unknown. We can look at the signal of fear fundamentally on this physical level. The body warns us of dangers. But the question is, when we look at the formation and the function of the ego itself, it is the representation of the pain body. It is this physical being that we know as the body. And it fears, for it seeks to live. It is naturally ingrained. It is instinctual. It is the consciousness, that divine observer that goes beyond the animalistic natures. But when looking at the body, what is the role of fear within it? To protect it, to keep it safe. So when you see a fear, when you observe a fear within your own experience, what does that tell you? Is it anything that is actually trying to keep you safe? Or is it just the ego? These are the powerful things that we can look within our own being, because life, again, is always showing us the truth. The subtleties are ingrained within each and every snapshot of now, for the human experience is the divine classroom. But again, you must look at the modalities, the functions, your position in the play. Fear from speaking in front of a crowd of people. Fear from opening up your heart and being creative. The fear of speaking your truth, standing your ground, of simply reaching out that compassionate hand to help. There are many things in which we fear and have tensions for. But is that not one vast assumption? For are the fears based in the past not some type of forced application of a current and present situation? Look within your own experience. How many times has a past pain resurfaced in a present moment, disguising itself with the same energies and pains of the past? And it tries to dissuade, persuade, and stop you from acting, from participating in the current play. Come to look at that egoic role as that antagonist, that villain, to make you, the hero, shine. If we look at these aspects of fear in the function of the ego again, come to know that everything that you see fear within the body is intended to help liberate the soul. That is the fundamental function, for again, the ego fears its own dissolution. It fears its own demise, for it is trapped in the temporary, and you are the eternal. Yet if you identify with the physical, you identify with everything it presents you as you. So these fears, they pull at the heartstrings. These fears, they reinforce the doubts of your own awareness. But again, it's because we invest our eggs of identity in the wrong basket of self. The body itself goes beyond not the spiritual realm in which we inhabit, but it goes beyond the scared, individualized sense of self. For in truth, your body is one aspect of life, and the universe is here to uplift and support, which is why it takes the heart, the conscious being, the divine God and goddess you are, to bridge the gap that the mind creates, the fears, the otherness. When in truth, it is that divine knowing that you are life itself. There is nothing to ever fear. Look within your own experience. This divine play as it dances through our own lives. We see it turn and play out each and every step as it unfolds. Those moments in your own experience when you've had a fear and accepted it, to move through it and act. When you've overcome that mass assumption that the mind has created that whatever it was going to be the demise in the end, and how quickly did that fear dissolve when you came out on the other side unscathed? That is the beauty of this experience. Life and spirit is always trying to show us that you're okay. Even in the ending of this physical body, your sense of self and me doesn't go away. You inhabit this physical form. Come to know that this is a temporary position. But it's this blending of the spirit and the matter. It's this unification and realization of your true position that leads us to self-realization and liberation. You are the eternal. You are the divine. Never allow the temporary states of the body to distract you from your position. Instead, observe the tensions that fear creates. Look at the scenarios and the surroundings and your own position in the play. Most importantly, come to know and see that the fears are temporary. Yet that sense of self in which all internal happenings present themselves to, that sense of you, that me, myself, and I, is eternal. Fears may change, but the one who the fears bring themselves to is unchanging. This is the opportunity of your own position in this play of life. To end seeing these fears as some type of self-created trap, but are one as apprehensions of the body, because when you overcome a fear in which it signals, it directly results in a leveling up, a letting go, an unfoldment that arises within you. And these awakenings, layer by layer, peeling them away, continues this process of refinement to simply allow that pureness that is you to be and to play and to love. That is the ultimate expression of letting go of fears: love, openness, acceptance. But don't overlook the subtleties of words spoken previously. We must acknowledge and accept the fear to move through it. And again, looking at the mechanics of how this is experientially witnessed, it is not a you moving through anything, but rather it is the fear and the energies and all the attachments of it presenting themselves to you, flowing through and past your window of awareness. This is why we must never be disturbed or upset when the mind is seemingly anxious or unstill. For the life of your own being, that body you know as yourself, all it has for the opportunities to process such experience, to digest the emotions and apprehensions, is when you are still and lovingly allow them to have the space to express themselves. So what is your body trying to tell you? What have your fears been trying to show you? Look within your heart. You need no one to tell you. Allow yourself to simply explore them now. Whatever fears arise, whatever tensions you have for certain situations, people, opportunities. What do you have to gain from overcoming these fears? The subtleties of this introspection is to recognize it is not a question of what you could lose or focusing on any type of lacking, for that is the realm of the fear. The mindset to allow you to utilize these tensions for your own progress is to recognize how they can be used for you. What will arise within the beingness, you can almost see it as stats. When you overcome certain situations, the will, the fortitude, the discipline increases, the courage, the playfulness rises. So when you look at the ego, the body, as this devil's advocate of an assister, this assistance that it provides is one of chaotic good, a troublesome play, a mischievous trickster that's always trying to challenge our heart. So how are your fears challenging your dedication to you? How do your fears push you to be the best version of yourself that you can be? Just like anything in life, when we change our perspective and adjust it, even in the most subtle of ways, we can transform something that will leave us literally shaking in our boots. To recognizing that something is evoked within us to birth that fire of courage and passion and action. Come to recognize even the words of Master Jesus. You must go through the valley of the shadows of death to reach that kingdom of heaven within. But take note at the words. He did not say you must walk through the valley of death, but the valley of the shadows of death. It's these shadows of death that evoke those deepest fears within us. It's these shadows of death that hold us back from really looking within and healing. It's those many avenues that cause the separation, that birth space for anger and division. But as mentioned before, the mind, the fears, the apprehensions, the tensions, all dissolve through the power of love. That knowing in the heart, that trust in yourself, unattached and unidentified with any of these temporary conditionings and happenings. So allow yourself to let go. To let go of any tensions and reservations. So whatever fears that may arise can do so effortlessly. That in the future, in these moments when the fears and the tensions are observed in the body in real time, that you have the grace to let go. All it takes is but a breath to transform that initial reaction and tension and tightening, to loosen up and liberate yourself from the pressures and assumptions that the fear may evoke within you. To remind yourself that it is but a sign of the body. And in truth, the fears in which we experience in life can serve as an amazing compass when we know our true position in this play. It's almost as if the body is naturally ingrained to tell you what situations will level you up, will break down some assumption to reveal a newfound truth. For again, when we look at the mechanics of the ego, that is why it fears them so, because it loses influence. It loses its position as your source of fixation and identity. So when you see the fear within the body, again, come to know that it is but a sign for you to be liberated even further, for you to fall in love with the play of life even deeper, and for you to immerse yourself in the divine love that is even more effortlessly. Take a deep breath. Simply feel the release of tension in the exhale as you fall in love with this moment, the only one we ever live. And remind yourself that these woes of the being that we know as the body, these fears and tensions and energies, are but based in the past. There is no greater grand assumption than trying to supersede those experiences of old onto the present moments. So let go. Let go of such assumption. Let go of such assumption that any fear that the mind tries to present you will play out exactly as it suggests. When we know in our experiences that the insanity of the mind has maybe arisen a fraction of a percent compared to the suggestions. So do not turn away from your fear, lean into it. Investigate it, explore it, unfold it, and shine that divine light that you are upon it and watch it dissolve effortlessly. For you are the recognition, you are the light. Even how we interpret the energies in real time allows us to get caught in the trap of the body. So even when you observe the tensions and the emotions, shift them willingly, consciously, and lovingly. That any tightness or angst is but an excitement and an eagerness. That any tensions of doubt and fear are in truth those signs of the unknown. For when we judge, it is because the mind assumes it knows. So humble yourself with the truth that you don't know until it arises. And if there is a fear and a concern for something, then do your best to ensure that you put in the work and focus opposite to the fear. Never put yourself in the position to think in an illogical fashion to how the mind operates. Meaning, do not allow yourself to think. Don't trip. Imagine yourself striding and striving for success, leaping and bounding with courage and strength with each and every step. For the mind does not think in knows, it only operates in do's, which is when the fear seemingly consumes you, showing you a scenario of failure. Do not focus on not making a mistake or not messing up, but simply allow yourself to be in the moment and allow life to flow through you, giving your full dedication to the act, and witness the magic unfold. When you hear this final tap of the singing bowl, draw on that loving breath, and with your exhale, release a powerful and mighty Om. And allow that divine cord to melt away, to wash away, and to dissolve any and all fears, so that you may rest as that divine being you are, in that light of courage and love, to utilize and transform any fear that ever arises in the future, to pivot that energy towards your realization, mastery, and upliftment. Namaste. I bow to the divine within you. Ooh, sending love and gratitude back to England from Seattle. I love it. Thank you for tapping in. I hope you enjoyed. And honestly, for those on the Pacific Standard Time, I hope this is the best way to start your day, with that just let's go mentality, that eagerness, that excitement that naturally fills the void of any type of fear and tension. That's the beauty of this exploration of the bodily tensions, is when we come to understand our position in the play, everything begins to become a lot more apparent as to what it's really trying to present you and offer you. And that's probably the wildest flip of the switch that can arise within someone, is to recognize that, oh my gosh, the fears that the ego has are always related to it losing some type of influence or control over your true beingness, that awareness that is the heart, the body, everything. So it might be beneficial to spend some time reflecting on all the fears that you've ever experienced and perceive them and observe them through this new lens of perspective, that it's always that tie of attachment that the ego is just kind of scared of losing. that every unfoldment or every time you move through the fear, that the beingness, your sense of self, that pureness just becomes more tangible, more apparent. There's nothing more beneficial for each of us to navigate and explore our fears because just as we've all come to live and learn in this world of division, that when we fear something, it's because it's unknown. When we fear something, it's because it makes something within us uncomfortable. Yet when we come to learn, when we come to push through the discomfort, we enter into such profound realms of relaxation, of calm, really of almost enlightenment, you could call it. Because you're learning something new, it's turning a new leaf, it's transforming an old perspective and completely shifting it. And that's the beauty when you overcome your own fears, because what is it going to lead you to? It's ultimately going to lead you to this fear of death, the ultimate assumption. And with everything that you can practice and explore, those fear of God moments, those moments of dissolution that will inevitably arise in this path of introspection, you'll be able to be grounded in your truth to know that you don't die. It's just the body that drops away. Now, I've talked about this in some other shows that I've been on, interviewed in the creative chat show that I host, but my fear of God moment happened 3 times before I was actually able to work through it on that third. There's no greater challenge, but I will tell you that the work to address and recognize the lesser fears that you attach yourself with definitely helped with liberating on that last and final happening, because it arises out of nowhere. You can't really evoke it. I tried. Um, but when it comes up, you have a great opportunity to fully transcend that apprehension of otherness and recognize that you are life itself and to live that faith and trust knowing. So, this aspect and work when it comes to fear and the shadow aspects of ourselves, I really suggest you take some time just to see how ridiculous the mind is and all these fears that it creates. Because that's all it's meant to show you is that the pie chart of the mind, there's maybe a sliver, a hair compared to the rest of it that has actually happened versus just the imagination staying the imagination. So, question the fears and know that it'll liberate your heart on a level that you cannot comprehend currently. Because that's what these newfound shifts arise within us. They create anew. So, with that, may the fruit of knowledge offer a seed, and in that seed may your love, will, and intuition give life and nourishment. For a tree shall grow, and in its shade may you find peace, and offer peace to all whom ask. Namaste. I bow to the divine within you. I love you so much. Thanks for tapping in, and have a great day. I love you so much. Peace.